I think it's really important for us as Muslims in New York to be in government. There are a million Muslims in New York City, but oftentimes like our voices are not represented. And that's because we have been systemically disenfranchised from the political process. I really believe Muslims have to be part of the political process is because we're impacted by it. When we think about Egyptians within the context of the art space in New York City, what do you think of?
The art space.
Hookah? No. Ancient Egypt.
Yes.
Right?
Like
You're like,
go to the
hookah?
You're like Steinway hookah.
You just want to smoke. One time I told someone I was Egyptian and they were like, wait, y'all still exist? I believe we should abolish ICE. It is a horrific, disgusting organization, truly. Everybody needs to be on the front lines, and I will be on the front line, putting my body on the line to make sure that our communities are safe.
Thank you so much for coming back to another episode. Difficult this. Or on this episode, we got something special for y'all. We got the first guest of the year, Rana Abdelhamid. She is running for New York State Assembly representing Astoria, Long Island City, hoping to replace the open seat that Zoran Mamdani had left over. You know that man. We had such a fun episode with her. She is very educated on New York City politics. We talk about all things from Muslim representation in government, her creating her nonprofit Malika, and all of the different needs of the New York City community and what she is running her campaign upon. Official election voting is February 3rd. If you're in New York City, Astoria, Long Island City, you better go vote for her because she's amazing, and we hope you enjoy this episode starting right now. Thank you so much for coming back to another episode of Difficult Dish podcast about that set. Wow. Thank you so much for coming back to another episode of Difficult Dish podcast about South Asian narratives, hosted by my esposa right here next to me,
Mahua Khan, and my esposo.
This is me, Masha Munir, and as you can see, we got we got a new guest on the podcast today.
New guest incoming, and guess what? I got a little introduction for you.
Oh
Yeah, nice.
So we got Ms. Rana Abdelhamid.
Wow.
What? No, and you could say
That's
Rana.
crazy.
You could say Rana.
No. I know your
You
name.
could say Rana.
I know your name. I got it.
Rana
Goodness
Abdelhamid.
We got Rana Abdelhamid. She's an Astoria, Queens, Egyptian-American activist and political candidate aiming for affordable housing, universal childcare, community safety, and immigrant rights. She has created a global collective committed to empowering women called Malika through self-defense classes, financial literacy, workshops, and more after a hate crime that she faced as a young hijabi girl in 2010. From completing a master's in public policy at Harvard Kennedy to being the youngest board member of Amnesty International USA to advocating for immigrants her whole adult life, she is now running for New York's 36th state assemblywoman, previously held by Mayor Zoran Mamdani. Everyone, please welcome Rana Abdelhamid.
Yeah.
We got there.
Well
we got
well
there.
Intro.
Welcome.
That was good.
We made it happen.
Welcome to our podcast.
Yes.
And
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
she's literally our neighbor, guys. We didn't know
and
this.
you're
That's
also
insane.
a constituent.
I am a
So
constituent.
exciting. District 36 in the house, in your
Goodness
house.
gracious.
I'm literally so excited to welcome you because, girlie, you're literally our neighbor. And also, it's so interesting because as I was like DMing you, but also like planning this episode, I'm like, the first time that I officially met you was probably like before the pandemic, maybe 6 years ago. I remember you had this like self-defense workshop and you or someone from your team asked me to bring my art and showcase it. And that was my first time ever showcasing my art.
Oh, no way.
And so like not only did I
love
see
it.
this self-defense workshop and see you in real life, but also that was like such a big deal for me because I've never like shown my art like that. It was way before I even had like crazy amount of followers or anything.
I love that.
So the fact that we're here now is a full circle moment, and it's just insane because like even back then I saw like older women and women of all ages doing these self-defense classes, and I was just in shock because I've never seen that before. And I remember we also had like this segment during the workshop where we had like self-empowerment type of images, and then on the back we wrote like a letter to our future self. And I had that for years, and I remember just like looking at that over and over. So just like things like that, it's so small because I'm sure you've done so many things like this now, but that meant so much to me, and I can't imagine how big it was for other people as well. And yeah, I'm just so happy to have you on the podcast.
I love that. Look at you now.
Look at
You're
us.
like
Look
a
at
whole
us
artist,
now, bro.
muralist.
Insane.
I mean, it's incredible, really. I feel like the spaces we create through Malika really allow people to like connect with each other, build relationships, but also just like build confidence and like their own abilities. And that's what self-defense is really about. Like, it's not just punch. A lot of people think, oh, you just teach punching and kicking, but it really is like this building power through your body, building power and understanding of yourself. And that in itself is self-defense. It's like when you understand yourself, when you feel confident in yourself and your voice and your art, that is self-defense.
And I think that's like the biggest thing, because we'll talk about this soon, but you're a black belt in karate, right? Or in jujitsu?
No, karate.
In karate.
Yeah.
She's not the only black belt, though. You know.
Oh, you're a black belt.
Well,
You own a black belt.
No, you got a little. You got a karate history.
I was a brown belt in karate, and I do boxing.
Oh, yeah,
Girl, come on, girl power, girl power.
Stop.
No, but
I thought you were talking about yourself for a second.
No,
I was.
He was talking about himself.
I bounced it to her real quick. No, one day you'll get to like our level. It's all good though. Take your time.
Yeah, so I did karate years ago with my brother. I was a brown belt.
That.
Now I do boxing.
Good.
And I just love having these powerful women on the podcast. We just had a Olympic boxer on the podcast a couple months ago, and it's just so cool to see, obviously, women doing something so cool and strong, but people that look like us, because I feel like there isn't representation, especially a hijabi woman, like teaching these self-defense classes and being a black belt. Like, it is so insane to me, and I love that it's becoming a little bit more well known now. So thank you so much for switching the narrative, because little me would have loved seeing something like this growing up, But I'd love to talk a little bit about your upbringing in Astoria and just who you are as a person. Who is Rana?
Yeah, talk to us. Bless us.
Who is Rana? I mean, I think first and foremost, I'm really rooted in my family. So my parents are both immigrants from Egypt. They're both from Alexandria, which is like the majority. A lot of the Egyptians who are actually in Astoria are from Alexandria, which is the Mediterranean city in Egypt. And they came to Astoria, and really before there was all these institutions that we see, before there were the mosques, before we had all of those stores on Steinway Street, and with a lot of other immigrant neighbors, really built many of these institutions. So my father, at the time, he didn't see a lot of halal meat or halal food, which is kind of interesting, right? Because now there's halal food everywhere. So he started a halal grocery shop. A lot of the men in my community who were cab drivers didn't see halal trucks, for example. And so they started halal guys, and they started Mahmoud's Corner to feed working class
Mahmoud's
people.
Corner is my favorite
Exactly.
spot. I had it back when it was $4. Me and my brother was so popular.
R.I.P. Still affordable, but R.I.P.
Yeah.
And so it started like institutions like this, small businesses, but also like our mosque, like Al Iman or Al Bir, started like community spaces. And it was in that context that I grew up, really just having this sense of my identity is important, being a Muslim is important, being Egyptian is important, like knowing my language is like the Arabic language is important. They really like instilled that in us. But then I also grew up in a post 9/11 context, which you probably know, someone who was in New York as well. It was a really hard time being a Muslim. There was a lot of shame around Muslim identity. And there was also a lot of state violence. Like the NYPD was all up in our neighborhood. People were deported the same way we're seeing ICE round up and deport people. They were rounding up and deporting Muslim people from my community overnight. They saw like our hookah lounges as hot spots. They saw like if you went to the mosque to pray, you were a potential radical. Like these were things that were normal to us and were part of our culture and identity that were tagged as potentially violent. And so I grew up within both like this juxtaposition of a really strong sense of unapologeticness, like love yourself, be proud of who you are, but then also like the state kind of pushing against our desire to want to be bold and unapologetically ourselves and like threatening us for being that. And so that's how I think like I got very political very early on, because I was in the middle of that like kind of contrast, and I saw how me and my community, we deserved safety. Like we deserve to be safe economically. We deserve to be safe from political violence. And that's like how I got involved in politics at first as a teenager.
It's so interesting because I can't remember if you were there for one of the iftars that we had for Ramadan or if I just went to MoMA PS1, but I remember I was there. Oh, no, maybe. But there was an exhibit where it showed the local residents of Steinway and Astoria, and
we
like
curated that.
Yeah. Okay, so that's why. Yeah. So I remember seeing like rent back in the 60s or 70s.
Yes.
Like $300 or something
$300
for a one
rent
bedroom.
stabilized.
And it's just so insane because, you know, that was a reality for a lot of our parents when they came here, and it's definitely not now. And it's so interesting how it's so tied to who you are, because your parents came here with that type of rent, and now even in 2026 we're kind of fighting for the same thing, where it's like, why can't immigrants and people that live in New York City who have been here their whole lives, why are they getting immigrated or getting deported? And why is the rent that we grew up in for 20-30 years, why is that 50 times the price, you know? So it's just so interesting that like the same battles are kind of being fought right now, but in a different font. And you can really see that it's ingrained in you because you grew up with this, and for you're a doer. Like, you're not going to just let it just be standby, you know? So it's just so crazy how like there are a lot of people who let this just like pass them by. They see their parents going through it. They're like, okay, this is not my problem to deal with. But for you, it's kind of like, how can I get to the root of this problem? And how can I have all of these different avenues to help women or help residents in New York City, you know? But I think that MoMA PS1 exhibit especially was just such an interesting like eye-opener, because like Mahmoud's Corner is such a big integral part of New York, or in Astoria especially, and like it doesn't get as much recognition. And also like the immigrants make up our city and our country, you know? And I love the fact that like you actually have taken action all these years and you're not backing down.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, the inspiration behind this exhibit was actually when I ran for Congress. The neighborhood got redistricted, right? Mm-hmm. So they like, kind of cut out Astoria. They cut my neighborhood, which is like this North African community, in half. So half the community was like on one side of the district, the other half is on the other side of the district. And in technical political terms, this is called gerrymandering. Mm-hmm. It's like a way in which the political operatives will try to dilute a community's strength, right? Mm-hmm. Because like if we're not a block, then we can't vote as a block, and we can't get representation, which is also why you don't see that kind of representation. So when I saw that happen, and I'm telling people about like our community as a North African community, as a Muslim community, as Little Egypt, as the streets call us, people were like, what is that? Mm-hmm. Like, and I remember like sitting in places and people talking about my neighborhood, especially people who, you know, are new to the neighborhood, might not be familiar. And they'll be like, oh, I seen a bunch of Turkish uncles sitting outside. And I'm just like, no, like, you know, it's great. Turkish people are great, but we're not, you know, like just mm-hmm. like misunderstanding or misinterpreting and retelling a story that's not the story, or talking mm-hmm. about the neighborhood without the context. Mm-hmm. And so it's really important for me to honor the people who started the businesses, to honor the people who've been here, to tell that story. And what a better way to do that, you know, right, as artists, mm-hmm. than through art.
Yeah.
And so we curated this exhibition at MoMA PS1, and we were so lucky to partner with Homeroom. Shout out to Elena and Django for partnering with us.
I love Django.
Just like incredible artists and creatives. And we brought in 14 immigrant aunties, and young people from our neighborhood, teens, and they brought in their leases. Mm-hmm. They brought in the first dictionary that they literally brought with them from Egypt, because they didn't have Google Translate back in the day. Mm-hmm. It was like Arabic to English dictionary, literally, mm-hmm. that they were using. Yeah. Their passports, their documentation, like,
it's crazy.
We took photos of them in their favorite parts of the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And for me, in the context of the fact that like many of them can't afford to be here anymore, mm-hmm. it was like a idea and a visual project and exploration of what does it look like to reclaim space, mm-hmm. and really take up space and tell the story of your people. And I think what was really interesting too is like oftentimes when we think about Egyptians within the context of the art space in New York City, what do you think of?
In the art space.
Hookah? No, there's like museums and Egyptians.
Yeah.
Like ancient Egypt.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
yes.
Right?
Like when you go to the
hookah.
You're like Steinway hookah.
You just want to smoke.
Right.
You just want to smoke.
Apologies.
No, it's okay. But typically you think of like ancient Egyptians, which is like a really important part of our cultural fabric. Mummies, shout out to the mummies. Shout out to my ancestors.
Shout out to them.
But that's not all of us. Yeah. Like they're also modern, like we exist today. Like mm-hmm. I just remember one time I told someone I was Egyptian, and they were like, wait, y'all still exist?
Oh
like,
my God.
hello? Literally do not think, like people, like I'm so serious.
Yeah, that's crazy.
In America, right? And so I think like we exist. We're here in this neighborhood. We've existed in this neighborhood. We created institutions in this neighborhood, and we have a very specific narrative and journey that's tied into like economic disenfranchisement, that's tied into political disenfranchisement. 10,000 people saw that exhibit.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And then from that exhibit, we were able to create walking tours of the neighborhood because we have this like history zine that we created that's actually now on display at the New York Public Library.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I think it's just, you got to tell the story, just like y'all are telling the story of your communities.
Yeah.
We constantly have to be telling our stories so that they're on the map and that we don't, get forgotten.
Was the interest in politics and like the aspiration of being like a community leader, community organizer, was that something that like you practiced when you were early on, like in school and clubs? Like what was like the conversation with your parents when you told them that's something that you eventually wanted to pursue? Like what was kind of like your journey of wanting to turn this from like a thought in your community to like actually becoming like a figure or like a, someone that is actually like chasing this sort of aspiration?
I mean, to be honest, like early on, I was never involved like in electoral politics, like even voting, just like knowing my representatives. I think many young people, right? Like you're just like, none of that represents me. These people actually represent harm to me. Like I grew also like y'all, right? Grew up within the context of like the Iraq War. Yeah. Like a million people killed, bombed by the U.S. government. Like grew up within the context of Guantanamo, like Muslim men being detained. So I was more like outside the system organizing, like on the streets, protesting. Didn't really see myself as getting involved within like running for office and getting elected because I never thought that was possible. Like I'm a Muslim woman in hijab in New York.
Yeah,
like,
that's not for me.
I just like didn't even imagine, like it was like the farthest thing from possibility. And I remember actually I did always love politics though. And I always wanted to do movement organizing work, which is like the protests, like organizing people, mobilizing people. And I was going away for college, and right before I went away for college, the imam in our neighborhood here, actually at we call it the Bosnian Mosque, which is like the mosque like on 12th Street. He like sat me down and he was like, what do you want to study? And I was like, politics. He's like, yeah, I heard. And he did it not from like a place of trying to be mean or anything, like really genuine care. He was like, don't study politics. Like he was just like, you're never going to be accepted. It will be so hard. You're going to waste your time.
Because of the lack of representation at that time?
Yeah, because he was just like, there's no way a Muslim woman is going to be in politics in America. Like that's just, and yeah, like at the time I never imagined that ever. And surely enough, guess what I did? I went to college and I was pre-med.
As we all are. As we all are.
For mad long, y'all.
Could have been a doctor at this point.
Could have been a doctor. Think about it every day.
I can't imagine that, dude.
For mad long, I was a doctor. I was literally thinking.
And you told everyone you were a doctor too.
I was like, I'm gonna be a doctor. My mom was like calling all the aunties, like, my daughter's a doctor.
God we got her on the right path.
Yeah.
And then here you are.
But yeah, strong pivot.
Yeah.
Junior year, hard pivot.
I feel like it's so crazy because as children of immigrants, like we had the same conversations with our parents when we're like, yeah, we want to do art, or we want to go into fashion design, or even for him, marketing, whatever it is. They don't say it out of like they don't believe in you. They say it out of fear, and also the fact you're not Shah Rukh Khan. There isn't a representation, like how is my son going to be Shah Rukh Khan? Like there's no in between, and in the beginning, I feel like it's definitely hard, and it takes a toll on you because you're like, oh, my parents don't see the passion in me. They don't see what I see. And then you start to despise them or whatever it is. But, usually from the people that I've met, there is hopefully a shift where they're like, okay, maybe they don't believe in me, but I still believe in myself hard enough to still go to that route despite what they say. And then maybe they'll come around, And I sometimes think it's the passion that takes over, where you have to be so into it, where like outside voices don't really, get you swayed. And do you think there was a switch in you where you felt like, this is my calling, I have to go into politics, I have to be the change that I want to see? Or was it just kind of like, I don't like pre-med and I'm going to try what I have always thought I wanted to do?
I just never stopped. Like
Mm.
I got to campus and I was a student organizer. Like I
That's
was like
what it is.
interning at a clinic and I was like telling the patients about like healthcare policy. Like I was literally like, you know why you can't afford this? It's because the system. Like that's
here
what
she
I
goes.
was.
Girl, you were in the wrong path from day one.
I
Here she goes
know. Like no matter what, like I was always talking. Like it's just like when someone wants to yap about something, like they're so passionate about it, like they can't stop. Like I was at the party talking about. Before it was cool, before there was Instagram, like truly, it was not cool back then. And it was just because I don't know, like it was just my passion. And I would also say like I grew up in a context where my parents were both like very politically educated, and I watched Al Jazeera growing up, and they have very good politics, like on economics issue. Like people are like, oh, most Muslims were Republican. My parents were always Democrat, like they were always to the left, like they weren't, you know, on the right side of the spectrum on like any issue. And I feel like that also like gave me a good foundation that made me understand like this is right, this is wrong. And it's deeply rooted in my understanding of Islam as well, as being like a liberation theology, and like Islam being part of its calling being you should try to create change when you see harm. And there's harm all around us. I think it's really important for us as Muslims in New York to be in government. There are a million Muslims in New York City, right? So 1 in 8 people is a Muslim in New York. And in many ways, we're part of the cultural fabric, as cab drivers, as educators, as healthcare workers, as business owners. So many of us are small business owners, as doctors, right? Like there's so many Muslims in the medical field, but oftentimes like our voices are not represented. And that's because we have been systemically disenfranchised from the political process. But the reason why I really believe Muslims have to be part of the political process is because we're impacted by it, right? Like you're paying taxes as a Muslim New Yorker. You should have representation as a Muslim New Yorker. Yeah. It makes no sense. Obviously now at the city level, we do have representation. There is a Muslim mayor, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And we should have Muslim representation at the state level. We should have Muslim representation at the city level, right? There's only one Muslim woman at the city council, Shahana Hanif, right? We have 2 Muslims at the state level representing us. We have never had a Muslim woman representing us at the state level. That lack of representation means our voices are not brought to the table, and that decisions are being made without us. And the outcome of that is what we're seeing, right? Like our communities don't get the funding that we need. Our communities don't have a say in political outcomes. And oftentimes that means like we are discriminated against. We experience bias. We are underfunded as a community. And oftentimes that also means like our communities are impacted abroad. And so I think it is really important that our voices are at the table because we're part of the fabric.
I think it's also interesting because like what you said, younger Rana like never expected to see herself in a big position like this, you know? And the fact that now that we're being the voice for the new generation, like maybe a younger version of ourselves can see themselves in the art space and the political space because there's people like us, you know? And I think on that same vein, it's so interesting that you've created this nonprofit called Malika, because it is so dope, what I mentioned before, to see a hijabi woman lead these self-defense classes. Like I know you have this video on the page where you're literally showing someone how to defeat an attacker, like how to take them down, how to defend yourself. You see these older women who maybe have been stay-at-home mothers and they're learning about finances, they're learning about self-defense, and they're really just like getting out there and becoming independent in such powerful physical ways. So I'd love for you to talk about just the representation in creating this organization and why it's so important for all of us.
Yeah. Malika started as a program first. Like it was really birthed from like a traumatic experience that I went through, going through a hate-based attack as a hijab-wearing Muslim woman. But having been an athlete my whole life and being a martial artist, really taking that skill set and thinking about how it could be very specifically used within context of violence, publicly and privately. Because I had been organizing at the time against public violence, but also against gendered violence. And in that work, really, like, I came into space in a very intimate way with Muslim women, because you could imagine, I mean, you came to a class, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like doing self-defense techniques, but also people are like pouring their hearts out. They're like talking about experiences that they've gone through with their body. It's a form of somatic healing. They're talking about previous experiences. They're talking about things that might happen to them, things that have happened to them. And you become really connected through even just one class.
Mm-hmm.
You build these really beautiful relationships with other women and other girls and other young people in our community. And I think through that work, I began to understand, like, our safety is not just physical, right? And that's might seem, yeah, like, of course it's not, but really, like, it is economic, right? It is political. If you're a gendered violence survivor and you want to get out of your home because you're experiencing abuse, but you don't have money, but also the state hasn't built a shelter, where do you go?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so here I was, a self-defense, like, literally, I'm just a self-defense instructor, and people would be calling me like, oh, I experienced this, I need to find a pathway out. And so naturally my work became more expansive. And so when we opened the storefront on Steinway Street, it really became a mutual aid hub, not because we intended for it to become a mutual aid hub, but because there was a need in the community and people were showing up for that need.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the most beautiful part of our work is really the intergenerational aspect, truly. Because I think when I think of us and our generation, we'll find our way, right? Like, we have the language, we have the network, maybe now we have the resources economically as well. But when you think about, like, older women, like our mothers, who may not necessarily have the language, who may not have the resources, who have never navigated these systems, and now they're coming into Melika and they're like, this is my second home. They're spending more time at Melika than they are at home because they found community. They're learning things for the first time. They're, like, connecting with people in the US for the first time. And they feel safe in the US for the first time. And I feel like that is the biggest gift of our storefront and, like, the work that we have done, is really that generation that is oftentimes forgotten, that is oftentimes mocked, honestly. Like, the women in our lives who are older, who are oftentimes disrespected, both, like, in their homes, outside the homes, in the streets, in our communities, outside our communities, but are so strong and, like, carry all of us. This is really, like, the center of our work. And it is amazing when you have, like, an auntie doing self-defense techniques, because sometimes they take me down and they're stronger than all of us, you know? And oftentimes, and they'll show up with, like, plates of food. They'll show up with, like, a massive network. They'll show up with so many stories and vibes for days, you know? And I just feel so lucky that I get to experience that with them.
Yeah, I remember even the Ramadan iftar that we had 2 years ago. It was a community based, like, everyone brought in food, all the aunties, like, came together and, you know, like, threw this party with you. And then I think that being translated over to, like, self-defense and these financial literacy workshops, like, it is the true epitome of girlhood and emotional connection, you know? Like, our community and aunties especially, like, they've had that, you know, they lean on each other, they go to each other's houses, they drop off their kids, go to work and do the thing that they have to do. But I feel like it being translated in more of, like, a powerful way, and then finally, like, having the space for it just makes it a lot more, like, relatable for all of us, you know, and it makes them actually want to count on each other, and it's not as, like, toxic, I guess, like what we grew up with. And yeah, so I love seeing the community come together and it being like an emotional reliance. And I think on top of the page that you have with Malika and your organization, I really like that it is also a hub for resources, not over just New York City, but in general for the world and the US. And right now with the current climate of ICE being all over New York, I've been seeing a lot of the resources on the page and self-help guides and what you should do and translations for Bangla, Arabic, whatever it is. And I would love to talk about how you've kind of converted the original intention with self-defense and emotional, you know, well-being and being a space for girlhood into something that is a lot more accessible for people that are going through injustices like all over the world? Like, how did that come to be?
I always think about self-defense as more expansive. Like, really, it's the safety of our communities, right? Like, as a whole. So if ICE is coming for us, we're going to defend our community. So even before this escalation, about a year ago, even like a little bit more than a year ago, we actually started to go into our small businesses on Steinway Street and speaking to workers and owners directly. We know it's going to be a hot spot. We know Jackson Heights has been a hot spot. Corona, right? They're already showing up. This isn't something that we are dreaming might happen or thinking might happen. It is happening as we speak. And it is our duty, right? Especially for me as like someone with citizenship, to make sure that our undocumented neighbors are as safe as can be. And so we as an organization are like, okay, what's our role? What can we do in this moment to keep our community safe? If our mission statement is to keep our community safe, to make sure that we can thrive, what do we do? And so Know Your Rights trainings is actually how we started. We started doing the Know Your Rights training in Arabic in the businesses on our block. So going to them, talking to everybody, and then also in our center in different languages, so that like if someone has an undocumented family member, they themselves are undocumented, they can come in and they can learn their rights. They could identify an ICE agent versus NYPD agent, etc. And also strengthening us as allies, right? Like, what do I do as someone if I witness ICE coming into a neighborhood, right? Like, how do I escalate? Are we using whistles, right? So we're making these safety packs every week on Sundays. How do I de-arrest someone? How do I use my body to make sure that I'm protecting my community? We organized the protest, right? To show that we're really in the heart of the neighborhood, that we're going to be standing up with our immigrant community. We're not going to back down. Yeah. We're going to be unapologetic. And in doing this, I think people feel like we're a resource. And there's one moment I will never forget, which is there was one day when there were plain clothed officers on the block, but they were wearing vests. The vests weren't marked with ICE, but the vests looked like ICE vests. And there was just a flood of people who just came into our office from the block. And for me, that moment, I was like, okay, what's happening? What's going on? Got the information that there might be ICE on the block, which was like a moment we were preparing for. We left the office. I went outside, asking around the community members, and went up to the officers and asked them. And they indicated to me that they were NYPD, not ICE. And for me, that moment was really crucial because I'm like, okay, people see this as a space that they will come to. Like, if something were to go down, they're going to run in here. This is where they're going to run into. Yeah. And that is like a huge responsibility that I don't take lightly. Because we are saying we're a safety hub, and we're going to act like that in all the ways that we can.
So you are running for New York State Assembly. Early voting's out now. This episode. By the way, voting February 3rd. Early voting out right now. New Yorkers, please go out and vote. Rana is running to represent Astoria, Long Island City. I would just love to know, from your perspective, what are some of the main community needs of our community? What does a vote for Rana mean? And just what is the campaign based off of?
Yeah, I mean, what is so amazing about this campaign is I've been door knocking, which means I literally go to everybody's home. I knock on their door. I'm like, da.
Girl, I loved seeing you in the hookah lounge. You were in the hookah lounge.
Right.
As you should. I love it.
Everywhere. I will go. You're welcome. Anytime. So yeah, like we everywhere. I'm outside talking to neighbors, talking to people. And through these conversations, I've really learned what is top of mind for folks, but also through running a mutual aid hub, like over the past couple of years, and seeing what people are showing up for and what they need. And our slogan is building an Astoria and Long Island City where people can stay. Whether someone has been here for 2 weeks whether they've been here for 35 years. If you love Astoria, you love Long Island City, you want to build your family here, you want to stay here, you want to root here, you should be able to, right? But so many people cannot, right? Like you're in a 1-bedroom, you want to upgrade to a 2-bedroom because you have a baby. Now you have to pay what, $5,000 for rent? It's wild.
On a minimum. And no laundry in the unit.
Minimum. It is unsustainable and it's unnecessary. This does not have to be the reality that we exist in. I want to make sure we have affordable housing. At the state level, you can pass legislation not only to fund building more affordable housing, but also to expand rent stabilization so that more units can benefit from freeze the rent once that happens. You could also pass tenant protections and make sure that tenants actually have legal support when they need it. So tenant rights and making sure we have affordable housing is a huge priority for me. The second thing is our small businesses. I grew up in a small business in this district. I love Steinway Street because of our small businesses. I love Astoria. People come all the way from everywhere.
That's true.
Sometimes I'm meeting people from like Connecticut and they're like in their little outing to Astoria on a weekend. I'm like, what? So people love coming here. People from here love shopping here because of our small businesses. But at the same time, our small businesses are really struggling. They're struggling because of rising rent. They're struggling because of the tariffs, and they're struggling because of ICE. People who are local to this community don't want to be in ethnic enclaves because they're afraid. They're afraid that that's going to be a hot spot. People are shutting down their food trucks because their workers are undocumented and they're afraid. And so you're seeing less of our small businesses being able to thrive. And it's really a legacy and remnant of the pandemic. 5,000 small businesses have shut down in this past year in the city. And people on the street call Steinway Street ghost town because of such high turnover rate. We need to pass commercial rent stabilization. We need to give capital support and funding support to our small businesses. And I also want to start a local zip code based entrepreneurship incubator and hub to help promote local entrepreneurship, locally driven entrepreneurship in our communities.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And then the third thing, of course, that's so important is making sure our immigrant neighbors are safe. We are so great as Queens, the most diverse place in the world, 800 languages spoken, right? We say all these things with so much pride. I'm the child of immigrants, and our neighbors are being abducted. Just a couple of months ago, I was in court with a Muslim woman who was abducted by ICE right here at LaGuardia Airport. She was abducted by ICE because she was profiled. She was wearing hijab. She was a Black Muslim woman, a grandmother. And ICE could not give one single reason why they took her. And she was disappeared for weeks. Her family didn't know where she was. This is happening every single day. Our neighbors are being abducted. A 6-year-old got kidnapped here in Queens who goes to our schools in this district. And it's unacceptable. We need to make sure that we use every single resource in our power to protect our communities. We know it's going to escalate. We know it's coming. So there are 2 acts right now, New York for All and the MELT Act, that we need to pass. But we also need to do more than that. I believe we should abolish ICE. And even though I can't do that at the state level, I'm going to do everything in my power to continue to call for that. Because it is a horrific, disgusting organization, truly. And what they're doing is unacceptable. And everybody needs to be on the front lines. And I will be on the front lines, putting my body on the line to make sure that our communities are safe.
I feel like I've been seeing you be so vocal about this for years. It's not even just like a new current trend that you've been on top of. Like, you've been at this for a long time. I know, like, every single year for Ramadan, you have like the Steinway shut down, right?
Yes.
For all of the vendors and everything. Do you think that this year you're still going to be doing the same thing?
Yeah, we actually have 2 really important events. And you're right. The work around immigrant justice is not new. We have one event where we actually work with asylum seekers in the district. And we have a sit-down meal with 150 asylum seekers who are in our community. Like, they live here in Astoria and Long Island City. Most people don't know.
Yeah.
And we do it because, like, oftentimes if you're a low-income person or if you're an asylum seeker, you're having iftar on a line outside.
Yeah.
Like, you're literally standing in line to get your iftar.
Yeah.
So we want to have like this experience where people are like sitting, we're serving them, like, you know, and we're breaking bread together. Like this is my fam too, you know? And so that's an event we will inshallah host again. And then we'll also be hosting the Ramadan night market. Yes, on March 4th.
That's
so
amazing.
if you would like to vend,
I would
if you
love,
want your
that's
homies
amazing.
to vend,
Oh my God,
sign
there.
up.
I know
I'm
the whole street shuts down every single year for that.
Yeah, it's lit, you know,
there.
and it's super fun. It's really joyful. I'm making all my childhood dreams come true for real, because I'm like, what the idea comes from, like, what would I have wanted as a kid? Like, why we need to make our holidays a big deal. We need to honor them. We need to have fun. We need to make it hype. We need to like have music and our culture. And like last year we had literally like 2 costumes and balloons falling from the sky.
Wow.
Like we're just like going all out
Yeah.
because we just want the kids to have fun. Like
Yeah.
we want them to have good memories of
Yeah.
Ramadan. Yeah.
And some of the stores are catching on. They got that Eid decor, the Eid decorations now.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, okay, you're kind of late, but at least it's
They're on the wave.
something.
They're on
You
the
know?
wave.
Definitely buy local.
Yeah.
Yeah, because our
of
local
course.
stores sell that way before Party
Yeah,
City did.
I know. Before it became a trend. I would love to like demystify what an assemblywoman, especially for New York State, like what that even entails, because I feel like a lot of people put a lot of pressure and a lot more thought into like the main election for president or even the mayoral one right now. So I would love to hear, for the people who might not know what an assemblywoman does, like how do you plan to like not only bring these things that you're these policies into action, but like what does an assemblywoman do on a day-to-day basically?
Yeah. So we, you know, in the political space, a lot of folks will say all politics are local. Your local politicians have much more of an impact on your life than you could imagine. Literally, the fact that the snow is not plowed, right?
Yeah.
Whether or not your trash gets picked up, the school your kids goes to, your healthcare facilities, just name it, it's impacted by your local politician. The assembly has 3 roles. The first is it passes legislation. So even just our ability to like have rent stabilization, our ability to have right to counsel, whether we have Eid off happens at the state level. Whether our small businesses get the resources they need, it can also happen at the state level. Protecting immigrants. Much of the systemic change that we want to see in our communities around healthcare, education, immigrant rights, that is legislative priorities that can pass at the state level. And every single person has an assembly member and a state senator. And we represent you in Albany, which is like the state capital. And we get these things done based on what our community needs. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we manage the state budget. So the state has billions of dollars and we decide where those billions go. For example, right now, some of that money, there's an act called the Not on Our Dime campaign, Not on Our Dime Act, which has been introduced by a coalition of Palestinian organizations and Jewish organizations, and basically would make sure that like if you're a settler trying to expand occupation in the West Bank, you wouldn't get a tax break, which is what happens right now. So the New York State should not be funding tax breaks or not providing tax breaks for settler occupation, right? That happens at the state level. But also how much money goes to certain districts, how much money goes to your schools, how much money goes to different organizations. If you have a nonprofit like Western Queens Community Land Trust or the Astoria Food Pantry or Astoria Tenants Union or Astoria Animal Welfare Society, like how that funding gets allocated.
Very interesting.
And then the third thing is constituency services. So if you're having an issue with any state agency, you should be able to walk in to your assembly member's office or your landlord, something's bothering you, immigration, whatever the issue might be, and they should be able to help you. So all those questions, we were like, I don't know who's supposed to answer that question for me, like random stuff that might come up, like your assembly member's office or your city council member or your congressional member, they have offices that are supposed to help you. Yeah.
When you heard it here first, guys.
There you go.
It's her.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you guys can go. That's
Go
like
for
the
Rana.
thing. You go into the office, you ask for help.
We got some rapid fire questions for you.
Yeah.
You can't think about these
On the
just
spot.
just off the
Answer.
top.
Gotcha.
Just, and
Gotcha
can't
question.
even think about
Yeah.
it. First one, your go-to / favorite Astoria food spot?
Oh, my favorite Astoria food spot is Mumbar.
Ooh.
But Mumbar, like, if you go there, be ready to spend 3 hours there.
Oh yeah.
Bring cash.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And get ready to see some beautiful art.
Yeah. What kind of food is it?
It's Egyptian food.
Egyptian? Okay. But where is it in
Okay.
Astoria?
It's on Steinway Street.
Okay. I gotta try that out. My favorite
Okay.
is Mahmoud's.
I love it.
Oh,
Always.
Mahmoud's is so good too.
My favorite
There's
spot.
so many good spots.
I know.
I'm a
But
DAZN fan.
Mumbai is very like, it's just, first of all, like very, it's a staple to the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an experience. Like, it's a
Yeah.
date night.
Mm.
I love a good
We should go for a
3-hour
date
dining
night.
experience.
Yeah. It's
I
beautiful.
love sitting in a restaurant.
Because he cooks the whole thing by himself. He's a one-man
Oh,
show.
One
wait,
man
I feel
show.
like I've seen videos about this on
Yeah,
TikTok.
he's very
then.
on TikTok. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Love. Okay, then I've
You'll be
definitely
seeing a lot of
seen.
me.
Okay, next one is your funniest or strangest encounter while knocking on doors.
That's funny.
She
Here
has
goes,
one.
here she goes. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. I got
That's
no.
so
no.
funny. I'm trying to think.
She did say that like New Yorkers just like show their apartments.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's not funny, but it's just like very interesting to me that like as I'm door knocking, I've been offered like to see people's apartments multiple times, and I think it's really awesome. I'm like so into it because I love seeing people's apartments. It's kind of like those little TikToks like, let me show you my apartment.
Yeah.
Well, people would like walk you in, and they're like, let me give you a tour of my apartment, and you just met
Have
them.
some tea.
They think you have
Have
the
some
time of your like. They think you have no things on your schedule
No,
today.
but actually, I find it like really endearing.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
awesome.
they're like, look, this is a 2-bedroom. This is gonna be your future. Or like if
Oh,
they have a
wow.
1-bedroom, they're like, yeah, it's a 1-bedroom, but look how I decked it out.
Oh, I love.
Or like if they have an issue with their apartment, they'll also show me like there's like a leak in my roof.
Absolutely.
And I just feel like it's such a New York. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it is a New York
Yorkers
specific thing.
love to show you their apartment.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it
That's what
is.
I take
Us.
away.
That's the first thing
Yeah,
we
the
did.
first thing they did. Yeah, like I walked in, they were like, let me give you a tour.
Give you a tour.
The island table and
Absolutely.
everything.
Absolutely.
Okay, next one. Your current hyperfixation. It could be anything.
Like, what are you into right now?
Oh. Let me think.
What's yours?
My current
Yeah.
hyperfixation?
It's not something
My
you think about.
Kindle.
Oh, that's
good.
nice.
I've been
That's
reading
good.
on the Kindle because I'm
That's
usually a
good
book, like a physical book
also.
reader, but my Kindle has been really nice.
My current hyperfixation is talking to voters. Like,
Oh.
I know, but
There
that's the
you go.
truth. Like, I'm
She's
just
really
like,
into it.
I mean, yeah, of course. The only thing I'm thinking about is like, okay, can I text bank right now? Can I call someone right now? Can I
Uh-huh.
door knock? If I'm not door knocking, what am I doing? Like, I
about
need
it.
to be door
Oh,
knocking.
she's
She
in
about it.
it.
So
February
that's my
3rd.
fixation right
February
now.
February 3rd, but early
February
voting has
3rd.
already
You
started,
better
buddy.
vote, please.
Come on, guys.
Rana, what?
Did y'all vote?
No, not
See,
yet.
I'm talking to
we will.
voters.
will.
That's
We
the
will.
only
Here you
reason
go.
why I'm here. is
Right.
I'm talking to
The
voters.
first thing.
talk with 2 voters. Rana, what is your hot take?
Oh, it's so funny because
Anything.
I just did subway takes yesterday.
Oh, you
Oh yeah.
did?
Oh, I can't wait to see
Nah,
that.
we need a better one.
I need a different hot take. Oh my god.
Damn. Wait, I can't wait to see that. When's that coming out? Do you know?
It's coming out at the end of the month. Okay,
Mm.
my different hot take, like if it wasn't that hot take, recently right now, is I feel like the U.S. hates moms.
Oh.
I really do. I feel like in other
Break that down.
cultures, like we really respect and honor motherhood and parenthood. Like, you know, in Islamic culture, heaven is under the feet of the mother. Like, you really have to respect your mom. Like, society is really built to like support moms. Postnatal care, prenatal care. Like, I was pregnant in Egypt, everybody was like moving out the way. Like, and I feel like here I was pregnant and like on lines for days and nobody would even offer a seat. Nobody would. And then childcare is really hard to find. Obviously, leave is very limited. Yeah.
Wow.
I think
like
career
that.
women are a lot more like that's the end goal.
It's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
why
like that,
even
I
when
like
I'm
that, I
like
like
when
that.
I'm pregnant and when I have kids, like, do I even want that to be at the forefront? Like, I don't know if it's gonna be like that public, but also it's just you never know with people, you know. I feel like people like
Lot of
me
bias.
about the business side. They like me because I'm independent, but you can be both.
Yeah, but the thing is that there's a lot of bias. Like, I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, you're a mom. But it's like,
Okay.
oh, you're a mom. Like, oh, like, how dare you have a 6-month-old and still be doing this, which is so interesting because I thought, like, for example, a lot of people will think, oh, you come from like a Muslim culture, a conservative culture, like people will judge you in that.
Right.
But nobody from within the Muslim community has ever judged me. In the leftist space, I've gotten like really interesting remarks where people are like, oh, like, how are you even able to do that? Like, it must be so hard, like kind of almost like judgmental in the tone.
They're just mad they can't do it. girl,
I guess so.
you're doing it all.
And it's
That makes sense.
surprising because I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm in a progressive leftist space, but there is a lot of bias towards moms.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That makes
Okay,
sense.
last question. Your ideal Friday night.
Oh,
You
my
just gotta
ideal-
check.
You just
You're
got paid. Like
you're at
nothing
home.
to do.
What are you doing?
Nothing
You
to
got lots to do right now. if you didn't.
Honestly, like my ideal Friday night is just like hanging out with my boo and my baby on my couch.
There you go.
I
There you
just
go.
have not done that in a minute.
Yeah.
Like it's been so long.
Yeah,
And
That's my ideal Friday
Inshallah,
night.
you have
It would
soon.
be so nice
Absolutely.
to just like, I love this couch, by the way. I'm enjoying it because I haven't sat on a couch for this long. in a
Oh
minute.
no, girl, we need to get you
That's
some
why she's here.
sleep. We need to
That's
get you
why
a nice
she's here.
couch.
After
like,
February 3rd.
After February 3rd,
Exactly.
We're
inshallah.
going to
Few more
party
days.
hard on
February
February 3rd.
3rd.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Catch us outside. Me and Rana on Steinway.
No, I know Steinway's gonna be
celebrating.
lit.
Steinway is going to be
Absolutely.
lit. We're going to throw a big party.
As
you
y'all gotta
should,
be
dude.
there. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, I love.
All right.
Love it.
We end off our episodes with just a quick 10-second advice. Literally about anything.
It could be unrelated. It could be about what you talked about. Anything. Yeah. No,
I
I mean
think
all three of us.
Oh,
All three
each
of
of
us.
you.
All three
Yeah.
of us.
So what's yours?
Mine is start like it doesn't matter how lazy you are. Like start measuring your coffee in the morning. You know, it just makes such a big difference when you have the ratios correct. Pour overs 1 to 15. You know, if you're making a cup of coffee, 8 ounces. You know, don't go up. You know that. Start off your morning right. Okay, that's my 10-second
That's
advice.
good.
Start it off right.
Mine is make lists for everything. So if it's just like a random thought of to-do list, like that's great, right? But it could be lists of just like movies you've watched. Or it could be a list of all the food spots you really like recently. It could be anything. I feel like it's so whimsical to have a list of everything. You know?
What's the benefit? Just
Just to have
Just
a little
vibes.
record. You know, sometimes you have a thought and you're like, you know what? This deserves a little written
sure.
a little written moment, you know?
Sure, I support it. I support it.
And you?
Oh my
Yeah.
God. My 10-second advice, you guys are going to be like, what? My 10-second advice is have a baby.
Oh.
Because it's just so joyful and so beautiful.
What was
Well,
the first thing she
yeah,
told
the
us
first thing you said when you walked in was not
what
that.
happened these last hours?
Yeah, what changed?
She was just thinking about
Now
her
I
baby.
miss my baby.
No, she really wanted to bring her baby today, and I got mad because I'm like, if I had known that was an option, you could have definitely brought him.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, I
The
was just
first
like-
thing she said when you walked in,
I was like, don't
"Don't
have a
have a
baby.
kid."
But it's changed. It changed
like,
my
you
mind.
just got here. like,
Bruh,
immediately.
no hi, hello, no introduction.
My name's Rana. Don't have a baby.
It was because of childcare.
Yeah.
Have a baby because inshallah we're gonna have universal childcare.
Inshallah.
And so then there won't be an
Because of
issue.
you.
But having babies is very joyful.
Yeah.
So have a baby.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
She's a walking
Support it.
contradiction. I just don't understand.
Guys, early voting is out now. February 3rd, official vote date. Please vote for Rana, New York State Assembly. Rana, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much
much
for coming
for
on.
having me on, and thank you so much for 2 votes.
Of course.
Of
We can
course.
add that to the pile. Like, exactly.
go.
We're going to have 2, and then we're going to have all the viewers also
All
voting
them.
in New
All
York,
them.
and
All
you're going to
them.
add to it.
We know you're in New York. We're gonna make it happen, all right? It's
very quick,
You got
very
2
quick.
days. And we'll make it
Very
happen.
quick.
All
But
right.
yeah, tell them where to find you and how they can support.
Yeah, so you can follow my Instagram. You can DM me if you have any questions about my policy platforms. And you can early vote until February 1st. And you can vote on Election Day, February 3rd. And if you want to phone bank, volunteer, we will be needing volunteers on the 2nd and the 3rd, all the way up till election. So we would love your support. You can find all the information on ranafromqueens.com.
Beautiful.
Love.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Rana.
Thank you, Rana.
And we hope you enjoyed this.
We hope you enjoy. I love you.
See you next
Allah
time.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Goodbye.